Against Turner to level it, and Matt Turner comes up huge with the save to keep it 1-0.
So another home game for the reggaeboyz and another match where the fans had to leave feeling frustrated. But this is one of those games I see a glimmer of hope and a glimmer of progress in our style of play. Just that it came a little bit too late in the match to get us a result. Yeah, people, welcome back to this reggaeboyz review as we look at the Jamaica versus USA in the Nations League quarterfinals. And I'm going to start straight into it in terms of the lineup. And the coach surprised us all and went with what some people see as ultra defensive, because eventually we went at 3-4-3 on paper. We basically had 6 defenders in the team. We basically played with 2 left backs, as Bell was in a left centre back and Lee a left wing back. And then we had Latabody, our partner Palmer, in the middle. Good news is that Bailey was back and he was on the right wing and he was there to partner Nicholson and Gray up top. With the game kicked off, it was clear that we were working on some kinks in this new style of play and formation. Coach looked like he wanted the team to press from the front 3, and it seemed that tactic caused many gaps to open up in between the lines. It basically made America took full advantage of that in opening moments of the game. They were quite comfortable in every facet of the game in terms of being on the ball, in terms of breaking those lines, and then when up close to our final third, it would seem that enough pressure was not placed on their front 3. So it was no surprise that the goal basically came from this. Pulisic, who would travel all the way from the left wing into the middle, able to trap a ball without no pressure, turn with ease, then run at a retreating back line without no pressure. Of course, he was able to find the right pass down the right channel to find Pepe, who steadied himself and then tucked away off the post to give America honestly a deserved 1-0 lead. If you look at the game again, in that midfield, you'd have a whole lot of there would have been a bit tighter on Pulisic there. And you also would have want Palmer right there to recognize the dangers much faster and come much closer to his midfield partner to try and narrow the gap faster. And it seemed that we never learned our lesson, because basically 2 minutes after that, again they break through our lines, and then Pulisic was able to run at our back 3, basically play a good ball over to the left hand side to Antoine Robinson this time, who was in and goal at the angle, but thankfully Blake was able to save us this time. So clearly we were slow out of the blocks and coming to grips with this new tactic and formation. But the same could be said, of course, about the US team, who is now playing basically just their 3rd game under Pochettino, and they also had some kinks they had to work out as they tried to build up play out of the back. So they also made some easy mistakes and turned the ball. One here, then found Palmer's feet, who was able to look up and find Bowser, who did a lot of the grunt work here, was able to fight his way into the box and then get past the defenders and enjoy the penalty. It was one of many great plays by Bowser in this game, who looks definitely more fit and up for the fight in this game. But then it came down to who exactly to take the penalty. We have missed our last 2 at home, if you remember correctly. The last one being Bobby Reed missing against the Dominican Republic. And without him or Antonio in the team, everybody was wondering who should take it. Gray eventually was the man who stood up. And unfortunately, despite a powerful shot, he was able to parry by Matt Turner, and the Americans luckily escaped. Listen, I am not going to get too hard down on the fact that penalties missed. Everybody misses penalties. But then you really have to question, is with Gray lacking such form, and more importantly, lacking confidence, was he the right choice to take it? It could have been Bailey, or it could have been Bowser. But I think credit to the Jamaicans, I think they eventually came grips with what the Americans were doing. We now engaged their front 3 much high up the pitch and then narrow the spaces in between the lines. So the Americans, honestly, for the rest of that first half, never really created much. The only issue is that we also, when we do pick them off in midfield and on the transition, we didn't exactly muster much going forward in their box either. So the first half basically came just like that, 1-0, but at least we narrow the damages going forward. Second half though, I think the coach realized that the Americans were definitely there for the taking and made some shrewd moves that reverted us back to our style and formation that we were more looking accustomed to under McLaren in the first place. So off was Greg Lee for Hayden, and Demarai Gray, who had an ineffective first half, was out for Cephas. All that meant that we switched back to a 4-2-3-1. And while the Americans seemed that they were unbothered about it within the first 5 minutes of the second half, eventually and slowly we seemed to get a grasp on the game and start to control the run of things. It got even better for us when I saw Palmer come off and Tyreek McGee comes in, and he gave us what was missing throughout the majority of the game, somebody who was willing to get on the ball and break those lines going forward. Magee was definitely having an influence. The balls were now finding the feet of Bowser and Liam Bailey much better high up the field, and we were still starting to create some dangers. One here that ended up saw Bowser get the ball in the 6-yard box, but unfortunately it was blocked out before he got the shot off. But there were signs of things to come. Honestly, this would be the start of perhaps a 30-35 minute session of play where we're just simply dominant. One here was a well-worked free kick by Bailey that ended up finding Cephas, who would pour his way into the box, and he was able to slot it across the 6-yard box, and it wasn't for a good heads-up play by Musa from the Americans. Oldgate would have easily leveled. From the instant corner kick though from that play, Bailey almost could have Olympico and turned out able to dig it out just in time, and when Lowe hit the ball back towards the goal, you see my hand was used to get the ball over the bar, but when the replay showed, it came off what some people that say is more arm than the shoulder by Tim Reed to get it off for safety. But at this point, Americans were reeling and we were just simply fully dominant. Bailey makes some nice plays to get Cephas free on the left hand side, and again Cephas showed that while he has good pace, sometimes you just want that end product from him because those promising plays simply broke down. But the way we were going, you just felt that the goal was coming and we were just coming closer and closer. Until roughly the 80th minute where the Americans make some changes of their own, of course, and then starting to tighten on Hayden and Latipo there in midfield, so where our build-up became much sluggish and the ball was stuck at our feet of Blake more than our attackers. It was mind-numbing at this time. The crowd started to boo as we were just simply could not figure out a way to go forward and pass out of the back. So much so that we coughed up two glorious chances for the Americans, and if Vasquez was on any form of confidence, we'd have probably coughed up another goal. And then our entire attacking momentum was killed when a direct ball was played to Vasquez once again, and was easily able to turn Holgate at the halfway line, and Holgate obviously dragged him down, and that was an easy second yellow card. So Holgate was not only out for the last 5 minutes of this game, but he of course missed the return leg in America. From there, it was no longer about trying to get the equalizing goal and more just trying to make sure we didn't concede a sloppy second, and eventually we did enough just to hold out the Americans for a 1-0 defeat. So definitely a frustrating game, and a game where honestly I felt the Americans were a bit lucky to come away with the 3 points. So just look on this game in the raw numbers real quick. In terms of possession, we had 41% compared to their 59%. We had 12 total shots. 7 of those came in the second half, and we had a good dominant spell, but we couldn't manage to get anything on target really. Only 2 shots were on target the entire game, and those come in the first half. They had 3 on target. They created 3 big chances while we created 2 big ones. Then look at the amount of passes and how accurate they were in comparison. They made 417 passes with an 84% accuracy. As I said to you, they had it fairly easy in that majority of that first half, while we only managed 260 passes and 76% accuracy, as the midfield never really exactly come together in that first half. Alright, I just want to highlight 3 players really quick in this one. I'm going to start with Bowser, who I thought was absolutely excellent, and honestly, it's been some time I've seen that kind of mobility and hunger from Shamar Nicholson. This is the type of things we're screaming at him about, especially during Copa America, and it seems that he finally getting a run of games and scoring for his club has really reformed the player back into his old self. It's just a shame though that he faded just a bit too much in that second half where we needed him the most. The second player we have to talk about is of course the return of Leon Bailey. All eyes was on him, and he was pretty decent. He was pretty good. It wasn't necessarily his greatest game at all, but there were definitely some bright moments from Leon Bailey, and he definitely showed some hunger and desire out there. I just wish he showed a little bit more clear instinct when he had a chance and goal. I decided to pass instead into the box for Nicholson, as well as I want him to go at Robinson and Ream a little bit more to try and open more shooting opportunities. But overall, it's a decent return from Leon Bailey, and we hope to see him improve on this in the next game. The last person we want to look on is on Damian Lowe, who I thought was our second best player on the field, despite him picking up another needless yellow card, plus 1 and 2 madness he did in the last 10 minutes of the game. Apart from that though, I felt he led the backline pretty well, and he was always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. Couldn't necessarily fault him on the 1 goal that they got. That was more came on the side of Holgate and Bell, and you felt he was one of the most composed people back there in the back line. So I felt it was a pretty solid game from Damian Lowe. I expect him to be one of the leading men in the next game in America. Just to wrap it up real quickly, a frustrating game for the Jamaicans, honestly. I just felt based on the formation and tactics in that first half, Steve McLaren went a bit too respectful to Pochettino and his men. America was far from their best and was there for the taking. I just kind of felt the personnel and the formation we used in the second half was what we probably should have started with in the first. I know hindsight is 2020, but the way the game played out, it was clear the Americans were lucky to squeak by with a 3 points out of this one. But all in all, some good encouragement in that second half going forward, and the Americans should not be taken as lightly in St. Louis. But that's all from me here on JamPL Fun. We look forward to reviewing that Monday night game, so stick around for that one. Please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you up to date on all things of the reggaeboyz throughout their Nation League campaign, leading up to their World Cup qualifying campaign next year. But again, thank you for watching on YouTube. Big up yourself.